Welcome to CARICOMP Insider, where high-tech facial recognition meets real-world intelligence.
In 2024, a finance employee at Arup, a major UK engineering firm, joined a video call with several senior leaders. Every face on screen looked right. Every voice sounded right. Not one of those people was actually on the call. Every participant was an AI-generated deepfake. And before anyone caught it, $25 million had been wired out the door. That wasn't a glitch. It wasn't a one-off stunt by some lone hacker in a basement. It was a coordinated fraud that passed every visual check a trained professional could run in real time. And if you've ever been on a video call for work, for a doctor's appointment, for a parent-teacher conference, this story is about the trust you place in what you see and hear on screen. According to Entrust's Identity Fraud Report, deepfake attempts hit systems every 5 minutes throughout 2024. Digital document forgeries, fake IDs, forged credentials jumped nearly 250% in a single year. Fraudsters aren't just getting better, they've built an assembly line. So what happens when the tools we use to prove someone is real stop working? Start with that Arup case, because the details matter. This wasn't a sloppy Zoom call with a frozen face and bad lip sync. The attackers generated convincing video likenesses of multiple executives, people the employee recognized, and ran them in a live meeting. The employee followed what looked like legitimate instructions from legitimate people. $25 million. Gone. And according to Gartner, nearly 2/3 of organizations reported experiencing a deepfake-driven social engineering attack in the past 12 months. That's not a future threat. That's a Tuesday. Now, you might assume people can spot a fake face if they're paying attention. Research says otherwise. When tested against high-quality deepfake video, people identified the fakes only about a quarter of the time. Across mixed tests combining audio and video, barely 1 in 1,000 participants could reliably tell real from synthetic. 1 in 1,000. That means in a room of 1,000 sharp, motivated people, maybe one catches it. The rest of us trust what we see. And that instinct, the one that says, I know a real face when I see one, is exactly what attackers are exploiting. The fraud ecosystem itself has changed shape. What used to take real skill, building a convincing synthetic identity from scratch, is now plug and play. According to Regula Forensics, criminals can now buy complete persona kits on demand. A synthetic face, a cloned voice, a fabricated digital backstory. Even fake behavioral patterns, trained to pass automated verification. It's identity fraud sold like a subscription service. For investigators and compliance teams, that means the person on the other end of a verification check might not exist at all, and every piece of their identity was purpose-built to fool you. For the rest of us, it means someone could open a bank account, apply for a loan, or pass a background check wearing a face that was generated overnight. Detection tools haven't kept pace either. In controlled lab settings, the best AI detectors can hit around 98% accuracy. That sounds solid until you do the math. At that rate, 1 in 50 fakes slips through. On a platform processing thousands of verifications a day, those misses stack up fast. And once those detectors face new, real-world deepfakes they weren't trained on, accuracy can drop by half. A tool that works 98% of the time in a lab might catch only about half the fakes it encounters in the field. That gap is where the money disappears. Meanwhile, attackers found a way around liveness checks entirely. Injection attacks, where synthetic media gets fed directly into a verification system's data stream, bypassing the camera altogether, grew by about 3 times in 2023 alone. The system never even sees a real camera feed. It just receives a perfectly crafted synthetic video and treats it as genuine input. For anyone who's ever verified their identity by holding up their face to a phone screen, for a bank app, a government portal, a new account, that's the check being circumvented. Gartner projects that by 2026, roughly 30% of enterprises will stop treating facial biometric verification as reliable on its own. Not because the biometrics are bad, because a perfect facial match no longer proves a person is real. The response from security leaders isn't to abandon face-based checks. It's to layer them: device metadata, behavioral signals, IP geolocation, document authentication, all stacked together so no single point of failure can sink the whole process. A facial match becomes the first question, not the final answer. The instinct most people have is to ask, how do we build a better deepfake detector? But the real shift isn't about detection at all. It's about verification design. The era of proving identity with a single check, one face scan, one voice match, one document is ending. Not because the technology failed, but because attackers learned to beat each layer individually. So, to bring it home, deepfake attacks now hit every 5 minutes. Humans catch high-quality fakes about a quarter of the time. And within 2 years, nearly a third of major companies won't trust a face match by itself to prove you're you. That changes things, not just for fraud teams and investigators building cases, but for anyone who's ever looked into a phone camera to prove their identity. The question isn't whether you'll encounter a synthetic face. It's whether the system on the other side knows to ask for more than just a match. The full story's in the description if you want the deep dive.
Now you know something most people in this industry don't. Use it. And when you're ready to put it to work, caracomp.com. We'll see you tomorrow.